Welcome to today's video. If you're someone who dreams of launching your own startup or you're curious about the brutal realities of entrepreneurship, then you're in the right place. Today, we're diving into Doglapan, the hard truth about life and startups by Ashneer Grover, the co-founder of Bharat PE and one of India's most prominent voices in the startup world. This book is far from your typical success story. Instead of focusing on how to build a $1 million company, Ashneer takes us through the messy, gritty, and often painful journey of entrepreneurship. It's not just about the triumphs, but about the failures, the challenges, and the personal cost of pursuing a big vision. So in this video, I'll break down the key lessons from the book, share Ashneer's personal insights, and explain why Doglapan is a must-read for anyone interested in entrepreneurship. Let's get started. The reality of startups. Ashneer Grover's journey in the startup world is a reminder that success in business doesn't come overnight. From his early days at American Express and Bain & Company, Ashneer had a solid corporate background, but it wasn't enough to prepare him for the realities of building a business. When he co-founded Bharat PE, a fintech company, he entered an industry already filled with competition, big players, and high stakes. In the book, Ashneer doesn't shy away from detailing the tough moments, the challenges, and the constant failures that he faced along the way. The first big lesson here is simple: failure is inevitable. Ashneer shares stories about the countless times things didn't go as planned, including failed product launches, conflicts with co-founders, and missteps with investors. But rather than dwell on these setbacks, Ashneer emphasizes that every failure is a learning opportunity. As he says, failure is not the end, it's part of the journey. Doglapan, the harsh truth. Now, let's talk about the title itself, Doglapan. Ashneer introduces this concept to explain the dual nature of entrepreneurship. You see, the life of a startup founder is often about balancing two conflicting truths. On the one hand, you're expected to project success, confidence, and optimism. On the other hand, you're dealing with the reality of constant pressure, sleepless nights, and financial uncertainty. In the book, Ashneer describes how entrepreneurs must wear a mask. They have to keep up appearances while navigating personal and professional struggles. This is what he calls Doglapan. You can be struggling internally while outwardly acting like everything is under control. Doglapan highlights the uncomfortable truth that the entrepreneurial world is filled with contradictions, and those contradictions are often necessary for survival. For Ashneer, this duplicitous nature of entrepreneurship is not something to shy away from but something to accept and even embrace. The point is, don't expect everything to be perfect. Success in business requires navigating through messiness, dealing with internal chaos, and pretending to be fine even when you're far from it. The loneliness of leadership. As we talk about the challenges of running a business, one theme that comes up time and again in Doglapan is the loneliness of leadership. When you're running a startup, especially in the early days, you're often alone at the top. Ashneer explains how leadership, while rewarding, can be isolating. You're responsible for the big decisions, the direction of the company, and ultimately, the success or failure of your business. But the weight of this responsibility can often feel overwhelming, and those around you might not fully understand what you're going through. This loneliness is compounded by the fact that many entrepreneurs face constant stress and anxiety. Ashneer talks about how there are no easy days when you're leading a company. Whether it's managing cash flow, dealing with employees, or making tough strategic calls, being at the top means bearing the burden alone. One of Ashneer's key messages here is that you have to develop a thick skin. It's not about being popular or having a support system that will always agree with you. It's about knowing how to make tough decisions and carry the weight, no matter how isolating or difficult it may feel. Trusting the right people. Another hard-hitting lesson in Doglapan is the reality of trust in the startup world. Ashneer opens up about some of the most difficult experiences he's had, including betrayals from people he once trusted. As an entrepreneur, you'll encounter many situations where you have to put your faith in others, whether it's employees, co-founders, or investors. But here's the thing Ashneer teaches us: trust no one completely. Startups, by nature, attract ambitious individuals, and in some cases, that ambition can lead to betrayal. Ashneer's personal experiences with betrayal and deceit serve as a cautionary tale for aspiring entrepreneurs. In a world where everyone is trying to make their own mark, trust can be a fragile thing. That's not to say you shouldn't build relationships or collaborate, but Ashneer urges entrepreneurs to always stay alert, protect your interests, and never give away full control to anyone. It's about striking a balance, being trusting, but not naive. The struggle of fundraising. One of the most eye-opening sections of the book is Ashneer's take on fundraising. If you've ever tried to raise capital for a startup, you know how challenging it can be. Ashneer doesn't just talk about the glamorized version of fundraising that you see in movies or on TV. No, he talks about the real struggle of pitching to investors, the constant rejections, and the overwhelming pressure of convincing someone to believe in your vision. According to Ashneer, the process of fundraising is grueling. It's not just about having a great idea or a solid product. It's about selling yourself, your vision, and your team to people who are only interested in one thing: return on investment. He describes how every pitch meeting feels like a performance, with investors throwing curveballs and asking questions that force you to think on your feet. What Ashneer emphasizes here is that fundraising is not just about getting money, it's about getting the right money. You need to find investors who understand your vision and are willing to stand by you, even during the tough times. The mental health toll. Finally, one of the most important themes Ashneer explores in Doglapan is the impact of entrepreneurship on mental health. Building a business is an incredibly stressful, high-pressure experience. You'll experience highs and lows, often in the same day. The constant grind can take a toll on your mental well-being, and Ashneer doesn't shy away from talking about it. He talks about the anxiety of running a startup, the stress of managing a growing company, and the constant pressure to deliver results. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that you need to keep pushing and hustling non-stop, but Ashneer reminds us that entrepreneurship isn't just about working hard, it's about working smart and maintaining your mental health. Ashneer talks about how important it is to recognize when you need to step back, take a break, and focus on your well-being. Burnout is real, and it can be devastating to both you and your business. That's why Ashneer encourages entrepreneurs to build resilience, but also to make mental health a priority. Conclusion. So, what's the takeaway from Doglapan? The book doesn't paint a pretty picture of entrepreneurship, but that's exactly why it's such an important read. It's a raw, honest, and unflinching look at what it takes to build a startup from the ground up. Ashneer Grover's Doglapan teaches us that success isn't guaranteed, and failure is part of the journey. But it also shows us that with the right mindset, resilience, and willingness to embrace the struggle, entrepreneurship can be one of the most rewarding experiences. If you're considering starting your own business or simply want to understand the reality behind the glitz and glamour of entrepreneurship, this book is a must-read. It's not just about building a company, it's about understanding the true cost of the journey. If you enjoyed this summary, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and leave a comment below letting me know your thoughts on the book or the video. Have you read Doglapan? Or do you have any questions about the entrepreneurial journey? I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.